Thurgood Marshall was a lawyer and judge. Marshall was also the first African American to be named into the Supreme Court Justice in the United States. Marshall was an inspiration to many minorities looking to go into the practice of law.
Marshall was born July 2, 1908, in Baltimore, Maryland. Like many African Americans in this time period, their life was impacted by slavery in the U.S. Example, Thurgood's grandfather was a slave, but he did accept slavery, making his way to the North, gaining freedom. Thurgood's parents, Norman Marshall, who was an elementary school teacher, and father, William Marshall, a steward at a country club. William loved the law and would often listen to court cases happening in town. When William wasn't working, he'd bring his son Thurgood to listen in on the trials. This began Marshall's interest in law. At this time, schools were stopping kids from being together and separating them based on color of their skin. Thurgood wanted to attend University of Maryland, but couldn't due to the restrictions of African Americans and was turned away. Thurgood attended Howard University in Washington, D.C. to learn law. Graduating from the University in Washington, Thurgood passed his bar exam and became an attorney. After becoming an attorney, Thurgood moved back to Baltimore, helping other students who was like him. Later, Thurgood fought the University of Maryland for not allowing African American students into the law school and won the case, making the University of Maryland a multiracial school. Marshall also helped with the organization called the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP. Thurgood became chief counsel of the NAACP, which meant he was now their go-to lawyer. Think of Marshall in law like Michael Jordan or LeBron James in basketball. He was the top dog when it came to his job. Thurgood helped with cases where African Americans were mistreated, wrongly accused, and discriminated against. Thurgood had the nickname of Mr. Civil Rights. One of the best parts of his career took place in 1954 when he worked on the case called Brown versus the Board of Education. Led by Thurgood Marshall and other young lawyers like Robert Carter, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund was running and aiding cases all over the country. The court picked 5 and consolidated them into one set of arguments, forever known as Brown versus Board of Education, of Topeka, Kansas. At this time, schools were stopping kids from being together and separating them based on color of their skin. Thurgood argued that the Constitution did not allow this and won yet another case, changing the school system in the United States. Though challenging and hazardous, his goal was to secure all people's rights set forth in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments in the United States Constitution.
Just be bold, be true.
Marshall was later appointed to the United States Court of Appeals by President John F. Kennedy in 1961. He only kept rising and doing big things in the world of law. Marshall was once again recognized by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 and was named to be the first African American to be on the Supreme Court.
I have just talked to the Chief Justice and informed him that I shall send to the Senate this afternoon the nomination of Mr. Thurgood Marshall, Solicitor General, to the position of Associate Justice Supreme Court, made vacant by the resignation of Justice Tom C. Clark of Texas.
Thus, the highest court in the land, with the vacancy owing to the stepping down of Justice Clark, has named to its august body Thurgood Marshall, the first of his race so honored.
Despite how the law treated Thurgood as a man of color, he educated himself and changed the world he lived in, doing so in a respectful manner and in a way that can be respected for many generations, instead of rioting and starting hate groups, which often happen in our day and age. Marshall died on January 24th, 1993, but not without leaving a legacy of fighting for the rights of equality for all men and women in the United States. All this came from a father's love of the law, even though it had its faults, to spark a change in a young man's heart.
Alright, just send a mighty force to wash away the shameful sins of a dark chapter in the history of this fine land you see. Hey, Thurgood Marshall, won't you help me out? 'Cause I've been slowly fading away this year. And Thurgood Marshall, don't you let me down. 'Cause I want to be inspired and mystified by the law.